Okay, welcome back, sports psych people. Hope you're having a great day today. Today is Thursday. It's about 5 o'clock. So seems a little bit late for our 220 class, but it will work for us. So what I'm going to talk about today is Chapter 7 on psychological skills training, which is basically a bit of a companion piece to Chapter 6 on anxiety and arousal. Basically, Chapter 6 dealt with what anxiety is and how it affects performance and how we measure it. So part of Chapter 7 is how do we deal with anxiety when we do have it, or how do we manage our arousal level if it's too low in terms of the Yerkes-Dodson law. Remember with the Yerkes-Dodson law, we had that curve going up and down where there was a peak level of arousal. Okay, well, arousal too low, your arousal is not high enough to be that on target. When you get to the peak level, you're at the peak level performance, and then anything after that goes down because your anxiety level is kicking in at that point. So that's what anxiety is, but now how do we deal with that? How do we even increase our arousal level to get that peak level? If our arousal level or anxiety is too high, how we get it back down to that peak level of arousal? Okay, so that's part of it. There's other issues involved in terms of psychological skills training, including attention, and also imagery has different components to it. Part of doing imagery is to do relaxation and to increase arousal, but there's a couple of other reasons for doing imagery. Okay, so we'll talk about those. That will probably be in part 2 of this lecture. So it was a beautiful spring day. I figured why not take a walk in the woods and have a nice little lecture outside. All right, so speaking of relaxation, sometimes people do take walks in the woods. That's one way to relax too. Do you have to do that? No, but again, that's one reason why we have imagery too. Okay, so if you feel like you need to relax and walking in the woods is a way for you to relax, you can again get that image in your head. You can visualize yourself walking in the woods, and that can help decrease your anxiety and help you relax. All right, so that's just a little bit of preview that's going on in this particular chapter. All right, so first things first. Okay, so basically, how do we change our arousal level? Well, to start off with, there are 2 different types of coping strategies. There's problem-focused, emotion-focused. Pretty self-explanatory. If you have a particular problem that you want to cope with, okay, whether it's it's goal setting or it's playmaking, that would involve a problem-solving focused strategy. Emotional is if you have trouble with your emotions, whether they're too low or you're too high, you get too aggressive at some particular point, or you get so anxious you can't control that, then that would be emotional focused strategies. One of the key aspects that the book does mention, that Sanderson does mention, is the idea that you would want to match the way of coping to the appropriate strategy. Okay, so for an emotional coping strategy, you'd want something maybe physiological in nature. Some of the things that we'll talk about in just one second. All right, so some of the strategies that are involved are going to be behavioral, cognitive, or cognitive behavioral. Sanderson makes more of a distinction between each one of those. There's really a component to a lot of these different things that overlap. So I'm just going to talk about some of the ideas of relaxation, one by one. Okay, and not worry about the categorization as much. Okay. All right. So one of those things in terms of relaxation that we can talk about, because again, relaxation is one of the things that you'd want to do. Okay, in terms of any sort of psychological psychological skills training, easy for me to say, okay, is anything that would involve behavioral or cognitive strategies. And one of the traditional ones that has been done in psychology is counter conditioning. Okay, remember way back to Psych 100, and you talked about classical conditioning. 2 names that you probably knew and probably can still remember is what Pavlov did and what John Watson did. Okay, Pavlov and his dogs. Okay, remember that whole thing? Bell meat, bell meat, bell meat, bell meat, bell meat. Rang the bell. Dog salivated. Okay, so an unconditioned stimulus was paired with a neutral stimulus over and over again, and then then it caused the unconditioned response. Then if you paired the neutral stimulus over and over again with the unconditioned stimulus, in this particular case the bell with the meat, then when the bell was sounded by itself, the bell is now known as the conditioned stimulus, which caused the conditioned response of salivation. Okay, so that one I think you remember fairly well. Okay, the other part that you hopefully remember is how this was applied to humans by John Watson. What did John Watson do? He conducted the rather famous / infamous study of little Albert. So he showed that fears can be conditioned using classical conditioning in people. So again, I think this may ring a few bells for you. I know, little Pavlov joke. But little Albert was an infant. Watson put a rat in front, or a bunny, used a couple of different things. Bunny in front of little Albert. Albert didn't really care. It was like, oh, big fluffy thing in front of me, cool. All right. But then what Watson did was pair a loud gong with the presentation of the rat or the bunny. So it was a loud gong, bunny, loud gong, bunny. Again, the loud gong, what is that going to cause an infant to do? Cry. And cry because it's unconditioned. It's a reflex. It's what babies do if they hear a loud noise. Okay. So basically what Watson did was conditioned fear in little Albert. That is, you pair the rat with the loud noise over and over again. So just like in the Pavlovian case, the white rat becomes the conditioned stimulus for fear. All right. So this is a bit of a background to explain the whole idea of counter conditioning. If you show that classical conditioning can cause fear in humans, what we can do then is use classical conditioning to eliminate the fear or rewrite it, counter the conditioning. Right? And that's what's done a lot in terms of relaxation. So, two things are incompatible with each other, right? Fear and relaxation are incompatible. You can't be fearful and relaxed at the same time, right? Okay, so what you want to do is overwrite the fear response with the relaxation response. So basically you're eliminating, you're presenting the conditioned stimulus, but instead of allowing the fear to occur, you replace that with relaxation. So what you need to do is teach people how to relax. And there's a number of different ways of doing this. Okay, two of the major ways are deep muscle relaxation. So you basically have this whole procedure of tensing and relaxing each of your body parts one by one. And it's about a 20-minute procedure. You're laying down or you're in a big comfy chair. And by the time you've stretched out and relaxed each of your different muscle groups, you feel very, very relaxed behaviorally, physiologically. Okay. The other part of that is autogenic relaxation. You're given the thoughts or the suggestions that everything's okay, everything's calm, everything's cool, okay? Everything's wonderful. They also mention you are at peace. I know, I'm really good at this. Okay, you are at peace. Okay, they talk about your body parts. It's like your arms are heavy. Okay, your body is warm. Your body is filled with blue jello. That actually has been used, but you get the idea. It's like, my body's filled with blue jello. It's like, how can my body be tense if I feel like my body's gelatinous? Okay, all right, so getting back to the deep muscle relaxation, again, these can be used in conjunction with each other, but so you would do each of your different body parts for deep muscle relaxation. For example, you'll have your fist clench for 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, then relax it. And then stretch it out in the opposite direction for 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And now your hand should be feeling relaxed. And you do that for all the rest of your body parts. I can't believe I'm actually going to do this on video, but even your facial muscles get that treatment. So you would open your mouth as much as possible, stretch out your facial muscles as much as possible. So it'd be like, 1, okay. Relax those muscles, and then you do the reverse. You purse your lips so the cheeks actually go inward. So you do that for 5 seconds. Okay, I can't believe I actually did this. Okay, I do it in class, but nobody actually records it. All right, so you do that for your entire body, and then your body is totally relaxed. Okay, so again, you actually can do this. So whenever you're given this stressful situation, again, whatever that condition stimulus is that's causing the fear, whether it's on a playing field or whether it's in a gym or wherever that fearful response can be, you just use these relaxation techniques. And obviously you can't do this all the time. You can't do a 20-minute procedure every time you want to be relaxed. So you use classical conditioning in this particular case. So whenever you do the relaxation training, you get a keyword, okay, that you use, when you're in this state of relaxation. So words like calm or gentle or okay, whatever that word would be, you pair that with your state of relaxation. So hopefully, again, through classical conditioning, if you just say that word, if you just say the word calm, you'll get this feelings of calm. Okay. One thing too is that these types of things have to be tailored to the individual. Okay. Some of you may see these commercials for a website, I think it's called Calm, or an app called Calm. And I've been joking with my wife about it. It's like, they say, do nothing for 30 seconds and listen to the sound of rain. Well, the sound of rain doesn't really relax me. Okay, it may relax other people, but it really doesn't do much for me. So, again, a lot of these things have to be tailored to the individual. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about any sort of relaxation training, either as a practitioner or as a a potential client. All right, so that's the main issue in terms of, again, deep muscle progressive relaxation and autogenic relaxation. Okay, other things aligned with this would be things like biofeedback. Biofeedback, nice in a lab situation, but you really can't be hooked up in a playing situation when you want to get feedback in terms of your physiological measures, like your heart rate, your GSR, breathing rate. Nice in terms of working through that pre-competition. Not such a great thing when you're trying to do that within a competition. All right, other things that again I'll probably send you some links to: hypnosis, meditation, mindfulness. A lot. Actually, I know I worked with another faculty member in terms of creating. Well, he created the video. I just asked him to send it to me. But there's nice videos in terms of the idea of doing mindfulness, especially as it's related to yoga. Okay, but the whole idea is to try to be relaxed. And one of the things that a lot of people, especially sports people, are interested in, you guys tend to be interested in before you even came into this course, is the idea of superstitions. Okay, so why do superstitions occur? Well, because again, they help the person relaxed. Essentially, the idea is, if you think of it now in terms of operant conditioning, the Skinnerian type of conditioning, where you get reinforced for doing a behavior. Okay, well, superstitions basically are a type of operant conditioning that don't have any bearing in reality. So basically, you do a behavior, and then just coincidentally, something happens that's positive. So you think of that as, I got rewarded for doing this behavior. Okay, when it really was the consequence, as it would be, is really not contingent on the actual behavior. So Phil Esposito, the famous Rangers hockey player, always went through the same toll booth on the way to the Madison Square Garden because that was his lucky toll booth. Okay, because maybe once or twice he went through that toll booth and had a great game. So he just did it again and did it again. And so basically, it's not because he went through the toll booth that he had a great game. He had a great game because he was Phil Esposito, the Hall of Fame hockey player, great player. Okay, so, but the thing with superstitions is that once they're in place, they're really routine. And anything that disrupts your routine, okay, can really affect your anxiety level, okay, and not make you relax. So routines actually can make you relaxed, which actually does help the performance. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for right now. I'm going to do about 15-minute chunks each time. So we'll probably divide Chapter 7 into 3 parts right now. So again, happy Thursday. Glad you hang out with me in the woods here. So I'm going to start walking on back. Okay, so take care, everybody, and talk to you soon.